I hope everybody is well. And in today's video, hold on, I want to move this throw over here for a little minute. Okay, there we go. So in today's video, I want to talk about two key things that have really helped me on my healing journey, just getting stronger and better and more in touch with who I am post narc abuse. So there's two things that I wasn't doing prior to the narc that I now incorporate into my life post narc. And those two things are, the number one is I was self-sabotaging a lot prior to the narc without realizing it. It was just innate. And then even dating a narc itself is doing that, is right, is self-sabotaging, right? So I had self-sabotaging, self-hatred type behavior internalized from childhood. So we're healing these childhood wounds to help us realize why we stayed with the narc. Why did we think this is the image of what a normal relationship should be? Some of it could just be laziness when it comes to, oh, I already know this person, they know me. Another thing could be doubt. You're doubting that you know how relationships work. You're saying, maybe all relationships operate this way. I'm not really sure. That's why they like to prey on either young, naive people or people that have never, like single parents that have never been married before, because they might have an inkling of self-doubt of like, well, I just don't know how marriages are. All marriages are hard, But there's levels to it, and narc abuse gets, we all know, out of hand. So, but we also know it's such a crazy entanglement. People spend decades in it. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide if you want to stay in something and leave. Stay in something or leave, So, and guys, I strongly recommend, do not, let me tell you, no matter what, guys, do not warn that new supply. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Like, don't warn that new supply. Let them figure it out how you did. And if they don't figure it out, it's fine. It's not your problem. Just be glad. But listen to me, guys. Listen when I tell you. I know from learning the hard way. Do not warn the new supply. You do not want to know, because you could get tangled up in some stuff. Remember, things can get dangerous when the narc and their friends and family have smeared you. So now people see you differently than who you really are. They've said you're all these things that you're not, when you were nothing but good to the narc. They've said you're violent, all the things that they were. They're basically confessing all the things that they were, they've said you are. So now you have to remember that new supply doesn't want to hear anything from you. They think that you're all those things that the narc really is. So they're like looking at you like you're crazy. That's why stay away from the new supply. Just be grateful for your freedom and from being away from that narc, and move on. Because you have, honestly, when it comes to knowing about the narcissist, you have the upper hand. You've already been through the horror. And we all know narcs don't change. A normal person can change. But they're next up to go through the horror that is dealing with a narc. And so we have the upper hand in that we know what's to come. And we're so grateful that this new person has granted us our freedom. So the first thing was self-sabotage / self-hatred, coming from inner childhood wounds. I was clinging back to my narc after every breakup, running back to them because I deep down had self-hate. I was saying, hey, I know you're trying to destroy my life. Let me get in line with what you're trying to do. Hold hands with you and say, yes, I'm trying to destroy me too. Let me help you. Let's both together conjoin our powers to destroy me, because the pressure of my destiny is too much for me. I can't handle it. And at least if you destroy me, I can blame you. That's how I was thinking. I wanted somebody to destroy me so I could blame them. Oh, that's why I never reached my potential. That's why I never got wealthy and famous and successful. I was so scared of my destiny and of my life path, the route that I'm called to go down. I was so afraid of going down that path and maybe failing, which I'm actually not afraid of failure. I don't know what it was. I felt like I wasn't ready yet. I just needed more life experience and to just be older. So yeah. And now I feel ready, which is like late 20s, early 30s, makes perfect sense. But yeah, self-sabotage / self-hatred to the point where you're hand in hand with your own abuser. And they like a challenge. So the abuser, the narcs, they actually would prefer to bring down a person that will fight for themselves because that makes it more fun. They don't like someone who won't fight for themselves. So me, I wasn't even fighting for myself. And it was like, okay, this is no fun. You're supposed to be opposite me, going bar for bar, like going at it. You're supposed to be fighting for yourself. And I need somebody who's going to do that. You're kind of like helping me destroy you. But then if your confidence starts to build over time, as you notice what they're doing, then you might go to the other side of wanting to start loving yourself. And then you will start defending yourself and your self-respect, you know. But there's so many ways that people get stuck in this, and my prayers are out to you. There's financial abuse where your abuser has you stuck because they make all the money and you're so mentally bogged down that now you're not as much of an asset. But once any of us survivors break free, trust me, our minds get just as sharp and we're able to go out there and make way more money and just be so grateful for our freedom and really discern a good new partner and take those steps to have standards, the quality standards necessary to pick a valuable person. Okay, so the second thing that has helped me really heal and shape who I am today into like a better, calmer, I've always been calm, but a better version of myself that is healed within. The second thing is accountability. Taking responsibility and accountability, because sometimes the relationship with the narcissist can feel like such a whirlwind of emotions, of the fights and then them making up with you and then the fights and then making up with you, the roller coaster ride that is a narcissistic abuse relationship with the person that has NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. When you're in it, you don't know what's going on. You're just like, this is normal, couples fight. And again, there's a spectrum. So you never know where on the spectrum your person is. As you get to know them better, you might realize they're more severe or they're not that bad. And if it's not that bad, then those situations can last longer if it's not that abusive. But yeah, accountability, because when you're in a relationship with a narc, things can move so fast that you're just like, that happened to me. He had a rage attack and yelled at me. Everything happened to me. And it's like, at a certain point, once you know the person's abusive, now you have every single right to leave if you want to, and you have the ability to leave if you want to. So you could have just left. Now, we know the trauma bond gets so deep and addictive that it can be harder than just simply leaving. We have to make a game plan, and we have to almost kind of prepare our minds for the withdrawal that's going to come, just to let go. We have to make our self-respect more important than instant gratification. But yeah, accountability. Take responsibility for the fact that you saw that long list, that long that long laundry list of red flags in that partner, and you ignored them. And you thought you were positive, you were being optimistic and positive, and you saw so much good in them because they were mirroring you. And when you first meet the narc, you have so many reasons that you think they're a great person. They've shown you every reason in the world to think that they're great. Now, over time, we find out things. It's just how it works. But taking responsibility for the fact that you were so curious, you wanted to stay and figure out whether this person is worth it or not, is something that you need to do. No more of that, this happened to me and they wasted my time. They did ultimately waste your time, and it is wrong. They know they're doing something that's not quite right because they're saying things that they never follow through on. But that's life. I mean, there's some people that are just rude and they do that and they're not even a narcissist. They just are rude. You know, the world is full of toxicness, but it's also full of love and people that are good and want to help heal each other. So having accountability and taking responsibility for staying and for all of the actions, even like maybe you don't have to take responsibility for what the narc did, how they decided to act, but you do need to take responsibility for however you react to the narc, and take responsibility for how long you stayed, and every time you go back, take responsibility. Because whenever you decide to leave and you have to go through that healing journey, you're ultimately going to need to take responsibility in order to start your healing process. So those two things of highlighting and noticing that I had a pattern of self-sabotage and self-hatred is the first one, which is what kept me coming back to the narc. In a way, I mean, but sometimes we would take long breaks. Like we would have like a 4-month break where we're not dating. And now we know with a narc, they're talking to everybody around town. But sometimes that could just be guys in general. I mean, again, it's a spectrum. But for the narcs that are towards the end of the spectrum, they can be very dangerous because they don't have your back at all in reality, no matter how much it seems like they do. Yeah, so the second, and we know the second one is taking accountability, not having accountability and taking responsibility for what you allowed, because what you allow will continue and what you allow will get worse. And one thing I respect about these narcs, actually, as much as I don't respect narcs, as much as I don't like what they do to people, hurting innocent people, one thing I respect about a narc is if you really put your foot down and you say you want to get rid of them, they will flee because they know what they're doing is so wrong that they don't want any backlash. Once you figure out what's going on and what they're really doing, once you really see them and the mask has been revealed, I mean, not the mask has been taken off and you see the real them, they know you can't unsee it once you see it. And they don't want to be anywhere around someone who sees the real them. But for all of us survivors, it really makes us question reality to a certain point, like who's really good and who's really bad. But just remember, it really doesn't matter. Just ask yourself, are you really good? Just keep living by your morals and just make it one of those things where you vow never to allow a weirdo like that in your space. In any kind of way. Only good people that genuinely care about you and you care about them. Simple as that. Who cares what other people's intentions are if they're not dealing with you? Just make sure those standards are in place for the future. But yeah, I just wanted to share those two things that have really helped me progress really fast in my healing process. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.